Joy Reid is on MSNBC. It's late into March. I had read somewhere some weeks ago in a news publication that she was on the way out because of her overt, hateful racism and bigotry and her earlier homophobic tweets and so forth, which of course she blamed on a hacker. Nobody could find this hacker because she's a liar. And yet there she is, 7 p.m. Eastern time, every weeknight on MSNBC. And she's there to promote her hate and her vile bigotry. And she does it again today. It's called The Read Out, because her name is Joy Reid. Let's take a look. MSNBC. Go.
Joining me now to talk about this second day of confirmation hearings for the very good, very gracious, very poised Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson and the very good man, Senator Cory Booker, just wrapping it up, thank God, on an up note. Joining me now, former federal prosecutor Paul Butler and former...
First of all, Cory Booker is a head case. Remember the Kavanaugh hearings? Remember how he kind of lost it? Cory Booker was grown up with a gold spoon in his mouth. He went to some of the best schools. He went to Harvard. He became mayor of Newark. He became a U.S. senator. He's had a very good life in America, but you wouldn't know it listening to him. Go ahead.
Harry Litman. Harry, I've been looking at your tweets. I've been sitting here watching what you've been tweeting. I want to let you give us what you thought of today.
Today was solid for her, but this last hour, I think was I'm a little reeling from, sort of an emotional reaction, but I think it's the best hour I've ever seen in a confirmation hearing.
Well, then he hasn't watched many confirmation hearings. She can't talk about what a woman is and this, that, and the other. I've seen great confirmation hearings. Justice Scalia, fantastic, absolute genius, brilliant, and we can go on. But this was the best hour in a confirmation hearing? Go ahead.
Wow. Cotton's totally nasty and foolish, really, line of questioning.
No, very nasty and foolish. So they take the words that she spoke and ask her to explain them, to expose her support for critical race theory, to expose her support for the transgender movement and the destruction of women's sports, to expose her radicalism because she's been trying to hide it. And that's very, very nasty. The idea that this hearing is nasty is absurd. It doesn't come close to what the Democrats do to nominees. Go ahead.
Clobbered him with perfect temperament. And then this back and forth with Booker, I found it completely genuine, moving, dignified, emotional.
By the way, this is a Democrat hack. I believe he worked under Obama. Oh, it's just so... We've never seen anything so fantastic. It's just unbelievable. This guy's former deputy attorney general. Oh, my goodness. The back and forth with Booker, it was so genuine, and the Republicans were so nasty, questioning her about her record, what she wrote, what she said, questioning her about her concepts and her policies and her beliefs and how she would adjudicate in this lifetime appointment. So nasty, with all the dog whistles and everything else. But Booker, when Booker asked her question, Booker didn't ask her anything serious. Booker said, when I was a young man, I attended a small black church, and to watch you today as the nominee, I tell you, and he goes on. He would never say that to Clarence Thomas. So this is all BS. Go ahead.
Really think it's the best hour I've ever seen on both sides of the aisle any nominee have, and I've been watching these a while.
I have to agree with you.
Doesn't say why. It just is. I've been watching them a while. And there's Joy Reid, who chooses her guests. I happen to agree with you. By the way, I've invited Joy Reid on my radio show several times. We get no response. None. Zero. Go ahead.
I agree. And I'm not an expert like you are, Harry, but I agree.
Harry's not an expert either. He's just a lapdog. Go ahead.
The word I would use for Tom Cotton was thuggish. I thought he was...
Oh, so Tom Cotton was thuggish when he read about this drug kingpin. Tom Cotton was thuggish. Look. Tom Cotton should be throwing confetti and thanking the good Lord for the presidency of Joe Biden and his insights in choosing Brown Jackson. We should be very, very thankful for this moment in American history. Go ahead.
I thought he was thuggish.
Bully,
That's what I'm going to go with.
Cretin.
Cretin. He was a cretin. Now, here we have a man who actually served his country in Iraq, in combat. Look at the clown on the right. Oh, yes, he was thuggish and a cretin for reading back to her the things that she had done in the case of a drug kingpin. He wasn't rude. He didn't attack her personally. They didn't go into her yearbook in high school or junior high or any of that stuff. Go ahead.
Thuggish. I mean, I want to go to you, Paul. These men thought of themselves as prosecutors today, but Tom Cotton didn't understand that there's not a named victim in a crime.
You know, these people are obnoxious and stupid, which is why they have no ratings. But ask yourself this. Many of you have cable TV, you have Comcast. This broadcast is brought to you by Comcast. Comcast owns MSNBC, they own NBC. Why do they continue to promote Joy Reid, given her background, given her hate, given her daily bigotry, and the clownish buffoons that she brings on her program? It's one thing to be a liberal, so-called. It's one thing to be left of center. It's one thing to bring on these liberal professors to tell us how great this nominee and so forth is. You've listened to about 5 minutes of this, and you've learned nothing except the clown on the right used to work for the Democrats. He thought this was fantastic. You have no idea why. You have Joy Reid in the middle, who predictably is obtuse and bizarre, just going on about the nominee, because the nominee is the same sex, race, and ideology as Joy Reid, so therefore she's qualified. And then we bring this guy on the left. I don't even want to hear from him. He's just about to jump in. But Tom Cotton, a man who served with honor in Iraq, in a combat, he's a cretin and he's a thug. He didn't do anything that was thuggish. He didn't do anything that suggested he's a cretin. But he did read the case and the facts that involved a case in which Brown Jackson ruled and let a drug kingpin go. Or in the case of Hawley, he's been dogged about exposing her weakness in sentencing child pornographic predators. It seems to me this stuff's relevant. Or in the case of Blackburn, who was superb in drilling down on the issue of women and what is a woman, and is there a difference between a woman and a man, and reading from Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And it was all done in a very, very professional manner and a respectful manner. But you're not allowed to raise issues. The Democrats are totalitarians. They're used to uniformity and conformity. They're used to crushing their opponents. They're used to censorship, like with big tech and so forth, and this is what they demand.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.